we got probably about what we thought. A very physical Cincinnati team, and a lot of first game probably mistakes by both teams. We certainly had ours, but I'm very, very pleased with a lot of things in the game, and part of it was when they got the ball, we turned the ball over on the 3, and they end up having to kick a field goal. That was a big, that was the crowd. 10 of those yards was Razorback Nation. And so we thank them for that, but stopped them down there. And then when we got the ball back with, I think it was 5:37 maybe, and they had 2 timeouts, and we never gave it back to them. I thought that was outstanding by the whole offense, especially the offensive line. And I thought Trey Knox played a heck of a game, both catching the ball and running the ball. A lot of guys did, but we're beat up in the secondary. We knew it was going to be a physical game, and we're beat up, but made some first game mistakes that we have to clean up. Those are my fault. I've got to do a better job, pay closer attention to some of the things there, the holding penalties and things of that. I was proud of our assistant coaches and really proud of our team, to be the top 25 team, and I think they are. But we needed everybody today, and I'm real proud to be 1-0.
Coach, just your rushing attack with Rocket and KJ, that tandem was working for you. You also got AJ a little action in Dominion also.
Yeah, Dominion made made a nice run and made a nice catch and run off of it. And sometimes last year it was that way too. We're really, really good or we're really, really bad, and our consistency is not there. We go in stretches, one way or the other. But no, I thought the offensive line protected fairly well. We got beat on a game, and of course gave up a sack on the backside of a corner Sam blitz, or it was strong safety Sam. It was 2 off the edge, and he got hit in the back, but he held on to the ball, and we don't drop. I'm going on a tirade right now. Yes, they played hard. I thought Rocket did some nice things. But we felt like going into the game that we could run the ball. And I don't know that we ran it as well as I thought we would. But I think it looks here we had 224 and 45 carries, so must have ran it pretty good.
Got some good pressure, some good hits on the quarterback at times. Other times it looked like he had plenty of time to throw. Do you think that led to some of the big pass plays?
Yeah, I do. I mean, we didn't cover them well. And we lost Cat at some point and lost JJ at some point. Corners got beat at some point. That's going to happen sometimes when you're playing, good quarterback, good receivers, things of that nature. But we just got a lot of things to clean up. A lot of things. I thought Barry was really aggressive, calling the defense. They was very aggressive. With that, you got to be really good at man-to-man coverage. We talked about corners all the time in the offseason, but, it's really, they ran a wheel route with a running back that got us on a 3rd down. It seemed to me like they stayed on the field in 3rd and long situations quite a bit today. But again, we had some turnover that, Nudy's pick was a good pick, but Jordan Dominique having his sack, their sack fumble that allowed us to go down and score in a couple of plays after that. That was a big play, and I think Landon Jackson had a sack as well, and so did Drew Sanders. So those are maybe 3 more than we was getting last year,
Okay. Sam, for all the conversation about you guys' schedule is hard enough, what is the impact of winning a game like this on your team and program?
Well, when Cincinnati was put on the schedule, I was saying why, to be honest with you. And I'm glad it's over and we're 1-0. So we are beat up, but that's a game of football. But we found a way to win. But am I tickled to death that we're 1-0 and we beat Cincinnati? Yes. And that I don't want to play them. I don't want to play them. We've already played them once. That's plenty. And we'll move on to South Carolina. But the schedule's the hardest schedule in football. You just got to try to be 1-0, and then next week 2-0. You know, it's so to get that one out of the way with a win was really nice. And the great thing I told the kids after the game, we have a lot to clean up, but we are 1-0, and then now that's I think our fifth top 25 team we've beaten in the last 20 however many games we've been here. 13, 10, 24 games.
Sam, all those guys you mentioned, I think it was 4 of them a minute ago, they're all transfers.
Yeah.
Obviously, your transfer receivers did well. Just how impactful were the transfers? How good does that make you feel about, hey, we got the right guys?
The game, I thought Matt Landers, we obviously opened up the game with him. He caught a couple balls early, and I think he had one more during the game. But, Matt Landers, I thought, showed them, it's hard. He's a hard guy to cover. The game didn't necessarily go where we continue. Only had 4 targets, I think. But, with Hazelwood as a transfer, doing some nice things, made a really nice catch on the touchdown, and of course was very, very good on the little sweep that we pitched to him. But those guys on offense, I thought they did a good job. And then we've already talked about most of the defensive. Well, Brainy came in and played at least half the game, when Catalan got hurt. So I don't know. I'm proud we have them, and the coaches did a really good job of getting them ready to play.
And then, Cincinnati.
Bates, too. Bob Bates. I mean, he kicked every one of them. I think they returned one, but the other ones he kicked out of the back of the end zone,
And then the pick by McLaughlin, I mean, they're driving. Looks like they might go up, and then he sets up a touchdown. Just how big a play was that?
That was a huge play because I think on that drive, I think it was third and it might have been 8+ on every one of them, and they converted them. And then they came back and Nudie picked it off and got us headed in the right direction. I think we went down and scored, right after that. And so that was big because they were converting third downs on us, and got a lot of work to do, but that was a big play.
So you shut them out in the first half, low scoring first half. What changed in the second half? Both teams' offenses really got going.
And I really don't know. I mean, obviously, they found something, that they went to. They got one easy touchdown. It was not easy, but it was a 50-yard bomb or 60-yard bomb. Beat us man-to-man coverage. But again, I think they still were converting third downs. We couldn't get off the field quite as well as we'd like to. I don't know. Maybe I don't know because both teams are tired. Both teams are. It's hot. I think probably just good coaching on offense on both sides of the ball, and we were beat up. I mean, we had a few guys that weren't able to play out there, and maybe that had something to do with it. I don't really know. I'll look at the tape, and I bet you it's just we got to get better. We got to cover better. We got to get to a lot of things.
Any idea how long you might be without Slusher and Catalan?
No, I don't. Slush took a pretty good hit, or hit the guy and then took the blunt of the injury. But I was nervous about him there for a minute, but he's going to be fine. I just wasn't able to come back today. I don't know about Catalan, to be honest with you. I really don't. And I think Nichols was out for a while, but he came back in and played. I can't recall offensive guys. I can't really recall any of those guys. Defense, I think those are the ones if I remember right.
And then real quick, did you see something from the backups who came in, Breeny, Jaden Johnson, and all that helped you stabilize things?
Well, I saw some plays that they were good, and I saw some plays that we've got to improve on. Both those guys that you just talked about. But that's football, and we've. I've said 100 times, but we've got to get better. But if we had lost, we'd had to get better. I mean, we just have to get better. You know, we cut the penalties down from last year. It's just the first half, every time we got a penalty, it was off a big play. You know, and that Rocket went for about 30, and we had a holding call, and then we had one on the edge, and that had another holding call. I think we had 4 at halftime, and 2 of them called back were major. And then I think Cincinnati shot themselves in the foot in the second half with penalties, you know, and ended up having, I don't know, I think we had 7, they had 10 or something like that. But last year we had 14, so we cut it down. We just got a long way to go. We just got to get better.
Sam, I think you touched on Dominic's play already, but the strip sack, how big of a momentum shift was that? Because 2 plays later, y'all scored and went up by 2 scores.
Well, you know how it is. Anytime you go up 2 scores, there's about, you know, at least until you kick off, there's about this much, you know, and that's what it gave us, you know. It was huge. I mean, they were on the 50, I believe, somewhere around the 50, and man, what a nice spin move he had, spinning back inside. And of course, they reviewed it, but I didn't feel like they were going to change it. You know, just looking up. Of course, I was for the Hogs too, you know, and I didn't want them to, but it was a big play in the game. A lot of big plays in the game. A lot of big plays.
I noticed your defense, you talk about being multiple, but there was a lot of 4-2, 3-3, 3-2. How much did getting guys like Drew Sanders, Hampton, Dominic, Jackson, how much did they help with being able to be multiple like that within a single game?
I think it helps a lot. You know, Dominic, Jordan Dominic is you know, he plays just kind of the same spot when we go in our 3 down with, you know, Drew up on the line. Jordan plays that same spot, and got a lot of value. We really didn't have that guy, you know, to get into that front, you know, in the past. I think it helped us. I know it helped us on a sack, you know, but those guys make us a little more versatile. I mean, obviously today we did a lot of things that we didn't do last year, and to Cincinnati's credit, I thought for the most part they picked, you know, most of our sacks, we beat them. You know, it wasn't a cut loose sack or something like that. So I thought their line did a nice job of picking up all the things that Barry was trying to throw at them.
Speaking of Drew Sanders, you said one of the things you wanted to learn this week was how good he could really be. And we talked about the sack already, but just what else did he show you today? Well,
Again, I'm so sorry, but I have to go back and kind of look at the tape, you know. I know he made several tackles, and obviously had that really good sack. He came inside on the fanned out tackle, and then the back came over to him too. But neither one of them, you know, they didn't have much success on him. He just ran over the back. But you know, he's a key to our defense. I think he's a really good player. I'm looking down here to try to see some tackles. It looks like Bump led us in tackles maybe, and so I don't really know how he played other than just those few times that I noticed him on the field.
Coach, you mentioned Trey Knox a little bit earlier. If you just look at his catches and yards, I think he about matched his numbers from your first year here. What do you think made him effective today?
He's worked his tail off. I mean, he's worked hard at tight end, and to be honest with you, he believes he's a tight end, and he is. I mean, he's a good one. And he coming off the field on his second TD, and you know, he went down their side, you know. And I said, "You happy you moved tight end?" You know, and those are special moments because you never know if it's going to work out. A lot of times it doesn't. You know, you have an idea for somebody, but he's blocked. I thought he blocked well. It's important to him. Obviously, caught the ball extremely well. The one he caught for a touchdown down in the south end zone was a hard catch. You know, and KJ threw some nice balls and he threw some bad ones. You know, I mean, quarterbacks are going to do that, but the team just kept coming on. When it passing wasn't working, it seemed like the running was, except for those few 3 and outs that we had.
Coach, talk about KJ and his ability when you're in a back and forth game to either just make the play with his feet or is making the pass.
I think that's just what he does. You know, I mean, it seems like he's done that, doesn't it, Sully? I mean, it seems like he just does it. And, they had him dead to rights, and he first down, and I think it seemed to me like when the game gets a little tighter, a little closer, a little where he's got to really take over the game, he has that knack to do it, and he went through a stretch there where he didn't throw the ball well, threw some behind, threw some low, and had a back out there, probably could complete it and get 15 yards, and he caught it and fell down, because the pass wasn't good. But when it seemed to me like most every time we need him to win the game, he makes some kind of play. LSU last year, cover 0, he makes some kind of play and we win the game. I'm glad he's on our team,
How gratifying was that final drive to finish out the game like that?
Unbelievable. I'm an old offensive line coach, and I'm sure Cody Kennedy's in there just happy as he can be. He should be. But it was 5-something. You guys know what it was? 5:30, 5:49, and 2 timeouts. We never gave it back now, and that's hard. I don't care who you're playing. That's hard to do, and you can go a whole season and not have one of them, and we did. So I wish I was the O-line coach. I'd be really feeling good about it, but I feel good about it anyway. But it was really a good deal, and kudos those guys. They worked their butt off for it. All of them, all of them. Whiteouts had to block too, and KJ, wasn't that pretty on 3rd and 1? We had to have it, and we get it. The game's going to be about over, and snap it to KJ, and he runs right up the middle for about 4 yards, man. Priceless.